It's definitely been a while since I last made a video. My last one was January of 2017, so it's been over a year since I produced a Crohn's related video, and although my academic schedule hasn't gotten any easier, the main reason why I stopped doing it, I still want to produce videos, and I realize that I think there's a lot to share, and the reason for that is the feedback I've been getting in recent months, but also since I started making videos, and people leaving comments and leaving positive feedback for me, and I would like to read some of those comments and answer some of the questions that were on here as my first back into making Crohn's video. So let's get into it. So a lot of people have shared their own personal stories, and I don't want to share their stories. If you want to read their comments, because they're public comments, you can go do so, but I do appreciate all the people who said thank you, shared their own story, and left positive feedback that definitely made me feel good about something that I'm not super confident in, which is my ability to interface with the camera and relate to people in that way. So one of the comments was asking if they can contact me directly because they wanted to ask a personal question or they didn't want it to be a public conversation. And you absolutely could do that. My Instagram, which is the best way to contact me directly, is at chronically_unlimited, and you can just direct message me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I see the message. Another question is asking where the inflammation that I had was that was removed by a surgery, and it was at the bottom of the stomach into the top of the small intestine. And so they removed around 2 feet of my small intestine right below the ileum, which is the muscle that contracts and controls the emptying of the stomach into the small intestine. So the muscle itself wasn't removed, but right below that, and all the inflammation for about 2 feet was removed. Chad asks, how am I feeling since this point in the surgery? So right now I'm feeling pretty fantastic. I've stuck to my regimen of the 40 milligram pens of Humira every 2 weeks, and then the antibiotics, and then the methotrexate as well as folic acid as prescribed by my doctor. And that's working perfectly. I haven't really had any Crohn's symptoms beyond what I'd expect from having just sometimes eating the wrong foods or too much fiber, too little fiber, too much water, too little water throughout the day has affected sometimes how I feel as it passes and digests, but no issues that I feel are directly Crohn's related. Santiago asks, are you strong? Well, I'd like to think so. I've deadlifted over 470 pounds. I've squatted 340 pounds, and we're not going to talk about my bench. So there's a question asking about should they work out or lift, and they say it's been 3 months since their surgery, and they forgot to ask their doctor. One, I don't know. It's up to your doctor and you. Instead of asking a YouTube personality, ask your doctor. Best way is probably email them or call their offices and get in contact with them. I started working out once I was able to get up off the couch and that it wasn't bleeding through the sutures in my stomach, and that was 3-ish weeks after surgery. I was able to get up off the couch, and that meant I was back in the gym, and it didn't mean I was lifting heavy, but it definitely meant I was picking things up, putting them down, moving around the gym, and definitely getting into the vibe of things. I feel it's really important whenever you hit a hiccup in life is always return back to your rhythm, because your rhythm is what your body is used to, your homeostasis, and it's going to feel best to live in that homeostasis regardless of what other irregularities happen in your life that might kick you out of that schedule, and you really want to stay in that homeostasis because your body likes it best. Deanne talks about her doctor telling her where to inject Humira. My experience personally is that my thighs, my quads, are the best injection sites. That is kind of because it's farther away from my torso. I'm not really sure why I don't inject into my stomach area or like the love handle fat that's off to the side where I do retain a little bit more fat than in my legs. It might just be that that's where I started doing it from the get-go, but I haven't experimented with that. But she says it's less painful, so that's up to people who are taking Humira to decide. Try it one way or the other. So here's another important comment that I'd like to read directly, and I'm going to put it up on the screen. Steve says, nice talk. Thanks for posting. You're welcome for posting. I do try. For me, it is a good thing to let go of the illusion I'm going to health all the time, a certain acceptance. Yes, I agree with that. We, as people with a chronic illness, where our bodies might sometimes decide it's time to be sick, sometimes our environment's going to fluctuate and cause us to be sick, it's important that we realize that we sometimes will have to go out of our regular rhythm and homeostasis and have to accept that we might be sick, we might have to interrupt our schedule, but that it's not really an illusion that we're going to be healthy all the time. Nobody's healthy all the time, even normal people, but we do have to accept that there is going to be times when we're not healthy and that we have to change our rhythm and maybe take a knee for a little while. I have another question asking how many surgeries I've had. This person's had 2, so I've only had 1 surgery to my stomach, and that was able to remove all the inflammation, and since has left me without any noticeable side effects of Crohn's other than me needing to take the medicine as prescribed by my doctor. Sammy asks what treatments or supplements I've used to get my Crohn's under control. So those have varied very drastically from when I first found out I had Crohn's to now. There's been really like 3 windows of times that I've taken different drugs. First was when it was more under control, but we weren't really sure what was going on, and that was just pills that I was taking of various prescriptions. And then the second phase was with Remicade, and going every 4 weeks initially, then every 6, then every 8 weeks to get infusions of Remicade at the hospital. And then now, ever since before my surgery, we switched over because I was having a really bad bout of a flare over winter break, that I switched to Humira, and then I had surgery, but I've been staying on Humira ever since that weird intermediate flare that then the Humira is able to handle up until surgery, and it's handled it ever since for over a year and a half now. Krish asks how long I'm going to have to take Humira for, and I have an expectation of taking it forever unless my doctor says, hey, we noticed there's 0 inflammation markers and your levels of Humira don't diminish over time, and those would all be indicators that the metabolites in my body aren't reacting to the Humira and that I'm, quote, Crohn's free and I'm in a complete remission, which I don't expect to have for quite a while, so I'm just under the expectation that I'm going to be taking Humira for quite some time. Another commenter says, I've had Crohn's for 18 years, I'm so over it. We all are. We all hate Crohn's. It's not like we're enjoying it, but definitely stick to your treatments, and definitely it's going to be okay. We're going to all figure out what's going on, what works best for us. Once again, thank you for all the positive comments and the well wishes. I'm definitely feeling healthier, and I hope everyone who's in the Crohn's community is also feeling as best they can under the circumstances. And if you have any questions, please just ask below, and I'm definitely willing to answer them either in a future video or immediately on the spot when I see them pop into the feed. And thank you for watching this video, and thank you for all being so kind.